Hey everyone, happy Tuesday. It is so wonderful to be here again. Woo woo. I'm so excited. Woo. The Most High has me just jazzed, you guys. I am excited about life. Why? Because I have been obedient. Now this is day 10. Day 10. If you guys knew how I struggled with getting on and sharing and being on social media like this, you would know how big this is. Woo woo. Big ups for me. Oh, I want to make sure before I get into the message, it's a great message today. Before I get in, I want you guys to know that I will be on Tavis Smiley's radio show, which is his radio. Actually, it's his radio station, and it's called KBLA Live Talk Radio is what it is, right? I'm going to be on a show early Saturday morning, 7 a.m., right? If you're on the East Coast, that's great because it's 10 o'clock for you if you're, far enough east. But if you're out here, it's early, it's 7 a.m., but we're going to be talking about grief. And the show is called Urban Family Focus, and the host is Gerald Smith. So I want to make sure I say that because I do often forget to, highlight me. So yeah, I'll be talking to everybody about grief. I'm going to have some really beautiful tools for people to help them with grief. And we're going to have a great discussion. So excited. But today, y'all, let me get into this. We are talking about something I learned that changed my life around. It was so important when I really understood the value of this tool. And it's called Acceptance is the Key. Y'all, that understanding of acceptance is the key freed me. It freed me from a lot of things that were on my mind, like those things that I couldn't let go of. And so I want to talk about that. I wrote down 3 little points. I said I want to talk about that when it comes to loss, right? Because usually that's what trips us up is some type of loss, whether it's a loss of a thing, a person, a situation, right? Because loss requires us to change. And change is hard for everyone, right? We all have to learn how to deal with change. So let me share this acceptance is a key tool. And let's look at these 3 things. I'm going to look at job loss, the loss of a loved one, and the loss of an intimate relationship. Because those are 3 common losses that we have to deal with. So this term acceptance is the key. You know what acceptance is? Right? Acceptance doesn't mean that you have to agree with something or not agree with it. It just means it frees you of having to tie your emotions to it, right? So acceptance is the key when it comes to a job, right? The fact that the job is ending, or maybe it's over now, if I'm speaking to someone specifically, it's okay. That just means it's an opportunity, right? Anytime something ends, when one door closes, another one opens. It really does. If you're open to that, right? If you can make room in your mind and in your heart, if you lose one job, there'll be another one. I'm always talking to y'all about having your own business anyway, and monetizing your gifts, right? That's important that you understand the gift of you and know that you don't have to be a part of what the federal government looks at employee contracts as master servant agreements, right? You don't have to be a part of a master servant agreement. So let's say you do lose a job, accept it. There's another door open, either for you to have your own business or for you to get a better job or for you to get a job that's that temporary job in the interim before you have your own business, right? So acceptance is the key. Like when you can look back and you can look through the lens again, I'm going to say look through that God lens, you're going to see that that's one little thing, right? And yeah, you still have to go through the emotions, you guys. We're not trying to cover up emotions and feelings. We're maturing in this and we're walking through it and we're looking at it through the eyes of the opportunity that every situation brings, right? Acceptance is the key. Now let's look at that in the loss of someone who we love, right? So many different scenarios. The worst thing to me that could ever happen to anyone is to lose a child. I don't care how old you are. I watched my mother go through it. She lost children. I lost my sister Linda when she was only 38. I lost my brother Henry when he was in his early 50s. And I watched my mother go through those losses. And I watched her lose her husband, okay, of 30 years. Those losses were deep. And I watched her grieve. It looked like she was going to go with my father. And he was young, right? He was only 48 when he passed away. I remember that loss. I remember how those losses hurt me, but I especially remember how they lost my mother, because I watched what that grief and that pain did for her. But the way any of us get through loss gracefully is acceptance. Acceptance is the key. And acceptance allows you to move on. It allows you to grow through, right? Not go through, but grow through the season and recognize that if one thing is over, and that includes someone who you love's life, that there is life after that, right? That there's opportunities even in that, right? Sometimes we never really see people until they're gone. And then we're reminded of the beauty of that person in their loss. But no matter what, all loss leads to opportunities. And it is definitely your mindset and how you look at things that allows you to grow through gracefully. But that acceptance, that this is what this is, and now it's time for something new, is key. Acceptance is the key. The last one I wanted to talk about is the loss of a relationship, like intimate relationship, you guys. So many times, that's really hard because we chose to give our heart to someone who's not necessarily connected to us, like a sibling or a parent, right? Or a grandparent. But we chose to give our heart. And obviously, if the relationship is over, there was something that wasn't right about it. And there's all kind of scenarios. I don't want to get into that. We don't have time for that. But I just want to say that type of loss, the quickest way you can get through that is understanding that acceptance is the key. I'm going to say it. I've been married and divorced 3 times. So obviously you understand I get this one, right? Every time it was hard, especially the first one. That was my first love, up until recently I didn't know any love greater than that, but I'm going to tell you, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I am good friends with my first husband. And that was so hard for me because it shook my whole picture and vision of what my life was supposed to be like. But I had to accept it. And it took me years. It took me years to get this principle. I didn't get this principle until like late 30s. This acceptance is the key. And it freed me from all of those things that I had held on to. Even the loss of my father. This is why I'm sharing this with you guys. Acceptance is the key, y'all. I need more time to explore this, but I'm just going to let you know, in every relationship, in every situation where I've dealt with loss, grief, anything like that, any situation that was difficult for me, the key thing was acceptance is the key. And understanding that this is not the end of anything, and yet the beginning of something new. And guess what? You get to determine what that new is. Powerful. I got to leave it here. I know we need more time. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. It all depends on what the Most High gives me. So we'll see. But you know what? You can always contact me. AngelaReneeandCo.com. AngelaRena and CO.com. Love you all. Peace and blessings.